Hey everyone, doing a video about the Republican debate, and yeah, I saw both the debate and Trump and Tucker. I think it's amazing how he gets like 100 million views on Twitter, far more than the Fox. Now, when it comes to the Trump and Tucker thing, I don't think it was Trump at his best, and it wasn't very big. The first thing that Tucker, he said hello, and then right away he said, "Why aren't you there?" And it's kind of, why should Trump go to the debate? It makes no sense. Would a lion sit down amongst a bunch of gazelles and care about their opinion? He's destroying them. He doesn't need to do any of that. And like I said, I'm not a Trump fanboy. I think that there's a lot of important things about our, republic right now that have to do with Trump and about going after political opponents. But I'm not a fanboy of his, and I think he could have been stronger in that interview. But anyways, let's go to the Republican debate, which wasn't all that great, right? And first, I want to say I don't think that it really matters. The reason why is they're all running in hopes that Trump is going to be in prison, basically. And if Trump, first of all, Trump is going to win the nomination. And if he doesn't, if he goes to prison, the whole party needs to stand behind him. Because if they break away and start going to like Desantis or Vivek Ramaswamy, which are the only real contenders, by the way, then that just allows them to go after a political opponent. No, you need to say, no, Trump is the candidate and we need to stand behind him. Because we need to pin them down. We need to show them what they're doing, what the Democrats are doing. The whole Republican Party needs to stand behind Trump. Vivek was the only one who was defending him. And I think that there's a good case for him to be Trump's vice president. We all know Pence isn't going to be. So let's go talk about the candidates, the main ones, right? And there was Desantis. Now, he, of course, is the governor of Florida. He's done great stuff there. He had a strong stance on the border and anti-critical race theory, anti-trans agenda. But he's not very good at connecting with people. He doesn't have what Trump has. He's not as, he does use terms like fake news and stuff, but he's kind of like a diet Trump in that he doesn't have the wow factor, the sugar. You know what I'm saying? He does have a good record. I will say that. Another thing is I don't like the fact that at his inauguration, he had Jeb Bush there, and I don't like the Bushes. I'm a conservative, not necessarily a Republican, but I'm not a fan of the Bushes. I don't like George Bush for what he did with the Patriot Act and all of that stuff. Now let's go to the real star of the show tonight, which was Vivek Ramaswamy. I think if Trump wasn't there, I would definitely vote for Vivek. I believe he is, his parents were Indian, and he's second generation, or first generation born. Anyways, he was born in the United States. He was a clear winner, and he was also the only one who said he vows to pardon Trump if, on his first day, if Trump was sent to prison. He also refuses to give more money to Ukraine. Now, this is important because this puts him in the crosshairs of the globalists like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. The reason why is because the whole Ukraine thing, I don't know if all of y'all know, but Larry Fink and BlackRock got the contract, I'll put it right here, received a contract to rebuild Ukraine. And the more it's destroyed, the more money they get to use for that. The globalists really need to be combated this election, and with the ESG score and all of that, it's a really tough time that we're having. They are, just look at like Lululemon, all of these thefts and all of that. Lululemon was fired two employees for going after a thief. And the reason why they're doing this, I think, is because they want to create a culture of thieves. That way, only those who have big investors with ESG scores and stuff like that behind them can survive. They want to destroy small businesses. And so that way they can say, oh, well, if you're not invested in us, if we don't invest in you, you're not going to survive. So they're literally trying to destroy small business. They did it with the virus, and now they're doing this, right? Another thing that Vivek was strong on was education. He wants to create a voucher program and support the school system. All of these teacher unions are ridiculous, and they are really trying to push this trans agenda. And the medical community, big pharma, like I said in my last video, there's a lot of money to be made in hormones, in surgery. There's a lot in, and they're predicting as we go. I'll put it again in this video, how the medical community is saying there's going to be more money in all of this stuff, and that just supports them. He also said that seniors in high school should take a civics test. Now, I think this is key, because a lot of people, you go on the street and you see, like Jay Leno used to do or whatever, but now people are interviewing people and they don't know who the first president was. They don't know. They think Abraham Lincoln was the first president. No one knows about Reconstruction, about how like Andrew Johnson is probably the second. I'd say Biden is the worst president. But Andrew Johnson was so bad because Reconstruction was so. I'm going off on a tangent here, but I'm really passionate about this. Reconstruction, had it have failed, the whole Civil War would have been for nothing. And Andrew Johnson just let that, people don't know about that kind of stuff. They don't know how the Civil War happened and what happened afterwards, and the rights of our citizens, and how black people were not just they couldn't own land or vote, but they didn't have the right to carry or own a firearm. Every person who is mentally sane and not a felon should be able to own a firearm. I'm a big 2A advocate. But he also harped on, he said that, a civics test, just like somebody who would come to this country would have to do. He also talked about the welfare and the lack of achievement. The welfare system, we know this. Some people have said, it's kind of like keeping black people on the plantation, the welfare system, because they incentivize mothers to not have fathers around because they want that paycheck. If the whole welfare system, if you have a father in the home, then he can pay the bills. You don't need our money. That destroyed many communities, not just the black community, whites too. But it's a horrible thing. And lastly, Vivek also said that, he said that there are only two genders. And let's be honest, there are. All of this mental health crisis and stuff like that, the fact that the left talk about how the ending your life thing is higher among trans people. Yet they're trying to get people into this movement. They're saying, oh, well, it's society's fault. Well, it doesn't matter if it's society or not. It's happening. And you still want more people to do this? That doesn't track. If you're still admitting that society is not accepting of these people, and you are trying to shove people into this, what does that say about you? This says that you have an agenda and there's something else going on. Pence. Now, Pence he's probably the worst Republican candidate. I don't like Nikki Haley or Chris Christie or the other people, but Pence, I wouldn't go far as to say he's a traitor, but he's just not a good candidate. He takes credit for Trump's presidency, and then it turns on him when politically expedient. We've seen this many times. He also famously, when interviewed by Tucker Carlson, he said that when talking about Ukraine, that American cities, how they're going through such a problem, aren't his concern. Now I get it. He was trying to say, "Oh, we'll fix that. That's not that big of a deal to me," but that didn't look good, right? And the whole thing about when asked about if he would pardon Trump, he said, "Well, I think he shouldn't be. I think he shouldn't be in prison to begin with." It's like that's not an answer. That's a political sidestep of the whole issue. Now there's Chris Christie, which the only thing that he had going for him, I mean, yes, he was the governor of New Jersey, right? And he did highlight a good issue about how China was making and bringing the ingredients of fentanyl that are killing thousands of people right now to the cartels of Mexico, and they're bringing them over the border. That's a big problem. I'm glad he brought it up, but I don't think that he's a serious candidate. Also, Nikki Haley, just drop out. We don't care. We don't care about you. I mean, the thing that really upset about, not only is she a anti-Trump rhino, but as a disabled veteran myself, when she did her final statement, she brought up how her husband is, going off to get deployed, and she used it as kind of a, hey, I understand what's going on. My husband is being deployed and stuff like that. It just didn't come off good. Using your husband's service as a way to politically boost your campaign, it doesn't feel good to me. So the 2024 Republican debate, I think, it was interesting in some parts, but I don't think it's necessary. I think the only thing that we learned from it is that Vivek Ramaswamy is probably a better candidate than Ron DeSantis. And Vivek should probably be Trump's vice president, if not Carrie Lake, right? But I think Vivek getting second place would be a good thing for Trump to find out that he is popular, right? And not only can he talk to non-whites, but also, I believe he's Hindu. I believe, yeah, he's not Christian. So after all of this, what am I looking for in a political candidate? There's a long list, but the main ones, right? Number one, in no particular order, school voucher program. We need to make sure that our children are being raised right and that it's not political. And we need schools to compete. That's what capitalism is about. Now, I understand there's problems with late stage capitalism. That's what globalists are doing. They're using capitalism to their advantage. But schools need to compete and not rest on their laurels. With a voucher program, the best schools will get the most people, and people will have to work harder. These schools will have to work harder to get more students to get the money from those vouchers. That's a very good program. I believe the Dems claim it's racist. I don't know why, but it's so stupid. They're always anything that is against the teachers unions that makes it so that teachers don't have to work or work hard. Yeah. Number two, the 2A, the Second Amendment. The candidate needs to stand behind the Second Amendment. Not only that, but also religious and freedom of speech. We need religious freedoms. I'm a believer in Christ, Jesus. But I believe everybody should be able to speak. God, it is not God who is trying to make it so you can't speak. He gave us free will. And a lot of people say, Satan was the real liberator. No, we already knew good. Satan just wanted us to know evil. He just wanted us to know sin. God was the one who made us capable of free will. Satan was the one who drug us to the other side. And so I believe in freedom of belief. I don't want to force anybody because God's not making you do it. I believe that we all should have a right to own a firearm with a background check. And, as long as you're not an abuser, not a felon, and not mentally ill, it's very important, especially for women, I think. I think it's very, and I just think it's a very important topic. Number three, many say that we have to disband the FBI, the NSA, and all of that. Um, I think that we should keep parts of them, like the homicide investigation part. Maybe establish a committee to decide what parts of them. But the FBI, CIA, a lot of them need to go. That whole thing. Um, Also, what needs to be disbanded is the ATF. They're all that is chasing after people with who are technically violating the law, and they're redefining things so people who are not um, lawbreakers before are now. Like the whole not buttstock thing, but the whole arm brace thing. It's ridiculous. Um, and the Patriot Act, this whole 9/11 thing, that was I think that was a strong reason, not just the military industrial complex and oil and opium. A lot of people don't realize, yes, it was one reason we went to Afghanistan. Wasn't, what's his name was in Pakistan. It was opium. I had friends that guarded opium plants, opium and oil, black and white gold. But the Patriot Act was a huge thing, and that's Edward Snowden talked about that, how the Patriot Act was the reason why we're in the problems that we are now. The IRS. We all heard that they got 70K plus employees. They're not all agents, I'll give you that, but they don't need firearms, and um, and it's like, well, aren't you 2A? Yeah, for defense, but why would in your profession? Why would you need a firearm? It sounds like they're making people who don't pay taxes to be under the gun. Now, if you have a firearm on you and concealed, whatever, that's fine. But it sounds like they're arming tax agents. That's what it sounds like, and I'm not for that. The IRS needs to be downsized, if anything. Um, we need a tighter border. $20 million border um, is nothing compared to the 150 million that are that we spent taxpayers spend a year on illegals, right? And I think what we need to do is we need to figure out a way to. I think that those agents for the IRS should all go to the border, and we should figure out a way to make it so that um, people have, people can come here legally, right? It needs to be more. Um, More of it needs to be established on. Sorry, things are going on outside. Anyways, we need more people to focus on legal immigration and block illegal immigration, because it's causing us far too much money. It's ridiculous. We need to dismantle the education corruption, the whole teachers unions and all of that stuff, the voucher program, like I said, and another thing, we need to investigate Hillary, Biden, even Obama for planting those things in Trump's. What was it? Biden was spying on Trump's campaign or something like that. But Hunter, Ray Epps, all of that, we need to get to the bottom of this stuff. The Republicans have already been investigated enough. We need to fight this. Release all Jan 6 protesters. Tucker worked on it, and he did that. He showed the tape to where the QAnon shaman was released now. And why are any of them there? The media claimed that a whole bunch of people died. Only one person died, and that was Ashley Babbitt. The others was ending their own lives, and nobody died from a fire extinguisher. There was a bunch of lies on that. We see that they let them in. They were not breaking in. There also needs to be a law. Two more things left. There needs to be a law against vaccine mandates and masks. We need to make sure that, it's not enough that, religious exemptions exist. Someone should not have to take something, especially if someone's profiting from it, like Big Pharma. You shouldn't have to take a vaccine because somebody wants to sell you something. I don't care. If you are so scared of the virus, stay home. It is not right to shut down the economy, destroy our whole economy because you believe the media. And finally, end Ukraine. It's not about democracy. We all know what it's about. It's about globalists. It's also about the fact that Vladimir Zelensky probably has a bunch of stuff on Hunter and Joe Biden. And they don't want it exposed. That's pretty much what it is. So all in all, I think it's awesome that Trump and Tucker finally sat down. I think Ramaswamy was the clear winner of the 2024 Republican primary debate. And we don't need any more of these. It's stupid. It's pointless. We all know Trump's a man, and honestly, if I could, I would probably pick Ramaswamy over Trump. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. And if Trump goes to prison, we need to stand behind him. But if not, if Vivek wins or whatever, they can pardon him. But I think the 2024 election, we are going to see a lot of worrying things. I think we're going to see the lockdowns come back. Don't quote me on it. Alex Jones talked about it in my last video. Alex Jones talked about how TSA people are saying that they're going to bring back masks and all of that. They're working on a new booster, right? And I think they're going to start implementing things that they're a bit more familiar. That mail-in balloting thing, Republicans have started doing it now too. They started canvassing and all of that, which is good. But it just, I wouldn't be surprised if 120 million people vote for Biden or Newsom or whoever they throw out. A lot of people don't realize that Trump had more votes. He had 75 million votes. Nobody believes that Biden had that many votes, right? But Trump had a lot. Anyways, and I think it came down to in certain counties, Trump in the key counties, he only lost by 42,000. That's definitely doable if you're, fixing an election. Anyways, this is 23 minutes long, and I appreciate y'all watching this. God bless, and I love you all.